Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All right, party people. It is Wednesday night, Gridiron Grinder time. I am Ryan. With me, as always, is my buddy James. Just a couple of dudes hanging out, talking about what's going on in the NFL each week. This is episode 200 and something or other. And yeah, I stopped tracking it because we just,
226, I think. If you count the
226. Sure, that sounds good
if
to
you
me.
count if you count the 5-minute video, 227.
Sweetness. Yeah, so we're skipping the news and all that crap like we've been doing these last few weeks. We're just jumping straight in, main event every week, no BS. Tonight, we're going to give you guys our pre-draft AFC team needs. And so this is sort of like a culmination of where they were at before free agency, who they've added. Now, really, what are their like pressing needs that are left over that are most likely now going to get filled in the draft? Or maybe they'll still get some value signings in free agency, but really we're a month away from the draft, and that's kind of the focus. And so, yeah, with all that being said, how is it going tonight, James?
It's going all right. Getting getting more and more used to my new schedule and waking up at the butt crack of fucking dawn before the sun's even up and getting to work before the sun even comes up. But
Yes, the good old butt crack of dawn. Yes.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, we all go through adjustment periods in life, and it sounds like you're, adjusting well.
Starting to. Getting
Yeah.
there.
ICP helps you wake up in the morning, get the blood pumping, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing like a little great Malenko.
Ha 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 ha.
All right. So yeah, I guess why don't we just start off with the AFC East? That's kind of how we do this. Buffalo Bills are first off. And so if we go back, a month ago or whenever it was, the Bills, um, you know, well, actually, I guess how did we do this? Did we do it alphabetical or did we do it
We
by division?
we did alphabetical.
So we're doing the Baltimore Ravens first.
Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens. So
Okay. So about a month ago, they had needs on the offensive line. They had needs at defensive back and at edge. And so when we look at free agency, see now I'm all out of sorts here. I got to go find them. Okay,
so in free
they
agency
yeah they
they
filled the offensive line by bringing back Ronnie Stanley
and
and
they signed back.
re-signing Ben Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
They also brought in Chidobe Awuzie at cornerback, which helps a little bit there, but they probably still need a little bit of help in the secondary and at the edge position. If we go beyond that, let's see, because Chad Reuter was saying they had other needs at wide receiver, which
Which
they
they did.
did bring in Hopkins.
They
And,
brought in
and
Hopkins and re-signed Tylen Wallace, but they haven't really addressed the wide receiver need, I don't think.
yeah, so I guess based on this, if we're going to assign them some new needs going into the draft, it seems like edge now is probably their top need.
Yeah, edge.
Maybe something at safety and
Yeah,
wide
that's
receiver.
hmm. Would I put? But that's the question: is which? If we want to go in order, obviously edge is number one.
Yep.
I think.
I mean, man, I'd almost say offensive line is still a need, right?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you brought back Ben Cleveland, but, um, Ronnie Stanley's getting long in the tooth. You got him on a 3-year deal, but man, this is a run first team. They really need to keep that offensive line pretty stacked, man.
Yeah, I believe offense. I'd probably go edge, offensive line, and then the question is between wide receiver and safety.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would probably be safety because,
Yeah, that's where I was leaning to.
you know, Lamar, he's more hit the tight ends And, wide receiver is almost a little bit of a luxury for them. They've been
Yeah,
able
and
to make it work with a lot of less than stellar names. And so I would definitely go safety. So I like that combo. Edge, offensive
yeah,
line, safety.
yeah, I can agree there.
All right, well, that takes us to the Buffalo Bills then, wasting no time. And so the Bills, James, let's see, where do we leave off with these guys? We
So we
had them
had
needing defensive tackle, edge, and defensive back, and they ended up signing, let's see.
they signed
Oh yeah, they brought in Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa, Hoyt, Rousseau.
Yep. And yeah, he signed a 4-year deal. Um,
Hoyt signed a 3-year. Bosa's a 1-year.
yep, they brought in Ogunjobi at defensive tackle on a 1-year deal. So, you could kind of say they've, at least for this year, filled some of those needs. And then defensive back, Dane Jackson, mm, I don't know. They probably still need some help in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, I'd say that might go up to number 1 now with DB because they really didn't. They did, but they didn't address it.
Yeah. And then Ryder had them at wide receiver as their other pressing need. So let's say DB is number 1. Honestly, you could say edge or defensive tackle still belong to be up there because 2 of their 3 signings are just 1-year deals. At wide receiver, they brought in Josh Palmer. I like that, but unless what's his face from last year really steps up, what was it, Keon Coleman?
Yeah, Keon Coleman.
They might still need another wide receiver. And
So,
so,
but here's the thing about that. I don't put wide receiver as a real need for them
yeah, they did extend
because
Shakir. He was good for them.
because like if
Kincaid's been good at tight end.
with what they have at wide receiver, Josh Allen won the fucking MVP.
Yeah, it works for him, right? No, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
it works for him. I'd probably leave defensive tackle.
All right,
In there
DB,
though.
defensive tackle, and then what are we saying? Edge because they need something more long term. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Reuter was defensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, cornerback, safety. And we're kind of putting defensive backfield in as one slot.
Yeah, I'm good with leaving edge there because they signed. What was their signings?
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
Bosa's going to help them on the one year, and then
and then Hoyt and Rousseau 3 and 4 years.
yeah, I guess maybe that's not so bad. I like the Rousseau signing a lot, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not horrible, man. I don't know. Where else do you go for these guys? Or maybe you just say, maybe you split up defensive back and you do cornerback and safety. Cornerback, safety, defensive tackle.
yeah, let's do that.
And I think that kind of fits them, right? Because McDermott likes being really stacked
How the
at
fuck does he still have a
cornerback,
job?
and this is kind of as thin as they've been in a long time. So,
Yeah, how the fuck does he still have a job?
yeah, I mean, they went pretty far again last year, but until they go the distance, man, I don't know how many shots you're going to give him, how many bites at the apple.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, then we got the Cincinnati Bengals.
So we had wide receiver as a need, but I mean they
Yeah, they
locked up
mitigated that. Yeah, they
they
brought
locked
back
up
Chase and
Chase
Higgins.
and Higgins on longer term
Yeah, and they had
deals.
they had what was his name, Jovasis or whatever, the rookie last year that was stepping up. So they're pretty good at wide receiver for sure.
So I think they're
Every
number one.
offensive line position, tackle, guard, center.
Yeah, I was gonna go tackle, but I think
I
I
don't think
was
you could ever give them enough help on the offensive line. They're so bad at finding people. Um, but and I guess this is the challenge, right? Is that they're bringing back the core of the offense, which is like the only way that they were even competitive last year, and they didn't even make the playoffs. They need so much help on defense, but man, you still got to protect Burrow. You don't want to have an issue like you had a few years ago with him. So,
so I would probably say tackle, guard, and corner. Or do we want to do DB on that?
no, let's go corner because I think they're okay at safety. I would like to see them do more on the defensive line, right? Because they told,
They did get rid of
Hendrickson that
Hendrickson.
he could seek a trade, you know, man, and they were already getting thin at defensive tackle. Um, I mean, we could just put it into a bucket. Offensive line, cornerback, and then I would say defensive line, whichever way you want to do it, because they could go edge or interior at this point. And so we're saying they've got a lot of flexibility going into the draft. They need a lot of help. So we're saying
Yeah.
offensive line. What did I say? Offensive
Offensive
line,
line,
cornerback,
corner,
defensive line.
defensive line, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so they're kind of sneaking 5 positions into their 3, which is fine because they need the help, man.
Yeah. So for the Browns, we had offensive tackle, quarterback, edge. So I kind of think the edge, like the reason why we put edge on there was because Myles Garrett was at the time
Yeah,
when we
was
did
going to
it
be out. Yep.
was going to be out. I don't think edge is
He could
really
use a running mate, but they got bigger needs.
Yeah. I think and that's the hard thing is they're drafting second in the draft. Do they?
Yeah, and they made the trade for Kenny Pickett. It almost makes you wonder, are they just going to kick the can for a year and have Kenny Pickett fill in for Watson and then draft a guy the year after? Or do you draft a guy, Pickett maybe ends up being your bridge, and then, I mean, because they're still fucking stuck with Watson, man. That's the problem for this team. I don't even know, dude. I don't even know. I do think no matter what, they need help on the offensive line. I think it was good that they signed Tevin Jenkins, but they could use a tackle.
So I think their needs. I think it just crosses over. Even if you consider that Myles Garrett is back, they're if you look at their depth chart, they're very thin on the edge, even including Myles Garrett there.
Okay.
So I don't think I think offensive. Do we do O line or do we do specific to tackle?
I think we could do it specific to tackle for now. It wouldn't hurt to go elsewhere, but I don't know, man. For me, I think you put quarterback at the top, offensive tackle, and then edge, and so you just shuffle it a little bit. And the quarterback thing is debatable because of the Watson situation, but you're putting it there as, hey, they got to fix this, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
fixed. Does that make sense to you?
It makes 100% sense to me. But like, my thing is my issue with putting quarterback 1.
I mean, where they're drafting, come on, they got to be thinking quarterback.
Actually, I'm seeing a lot of smoke of them picking edge guy first.
The dude from Penn State.
Yeah, Carter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a lot of that. Is Shador Sanders a number
But
two
we think
pick?
quarterback is a bigger need for them.
Yeah.
And so if they decide to jump down a notch, that's on them. Their highest need is quarterback.
I like how all the pre-draft boards with what's his face, Travis Hunter. They
Yeah,
don't put him as a position; they put him as an athlete.
yeah. Which hey, the old NCAA football game had a category for athlete. And then when you signed them to your team, you could move them to whatever, best suited the team or them or whatever. And yeah, he was a defensive back at the combine. And he was saying that he didn't have a say in that they just told him he was going to work out as a defensive back, and that if teams requested him to work out as a wide receiver, then he would get to do that too.
Interesting. I mean, I guess you can't have him working out everywhere.
No, for sure. But you would think that somebody in his spot, maybe he would have a say in it, right? But I guess it's more about somehow the teams decided, hey, we see him as a defensive back, so let's have him work out there primarily.
Interesting.
All right,
There's,
so yeah. Up next, we
anyways,
got the Denver Broncos, my man.
all right. So we had wide receiver, defensive tackle, and linebacker. So they didn't really address the wide receiver in free agency. They signed Trent Sherfield, whatever. Linebacker, they signed Dre Greenlaw, huge
Yeah, I like
signing,
that signing.
and Hufanga in the secondary. I
Oh,
would
I
say
really like that signing. Yeah.
so. I would say wide receiver, defensive tackle, stay.
Yeah, let's see what Reuter was saying outside of those needs.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
He also had tight end, which they brought in Evan Ingram,
Yeah, they brought in Evan Ingram, who did a
but
fantastic job in
Jacksonville, yeah, he
Jacksonville.
resurrected his career. But I would be tempted to say you still put tight end on here because Ingram's had injury issues, and I don't know how long they see him really being the answer in Denver. I know they signed him to a 2-year deal, but we know, you know, Sean Payton is a huge tight end guy, right? And
Hmm.
he might be wanting his Taysom Hill kind of guy. Evan Ingram's going to be a good receiving tight end for Bo Nix, but he's not going to be a Taysom Hill kind of guy. And if not, then I guess we put another thing on here. Maybe I could pull up lineups. We could see how they doing on the offensive line. Where are they doing? It seems like the defense is looking like pretty fucking sharp now. I mean, it was already really
What
good last
about
year.
now? Hear me out. What about running back?
Oh shit, dude, I was just looking at running back because that's right. They got Jaleel McLaughlin at the top, and man, I'm sure they would love to pair him with a fucking bruiser, dude, because he's just a kind of like a scat back that really he did really well for them last year, but Peyton likes his committees.
Yeah,
No, I think you're right. I think that's the better way to go. Is that would suit them better, especially if they go wide receiver somewhere early in the draft. Yeah, let's do wide receiver, defensive tackle, running back.
which brings us to the
Houston.
Texans, who we had right offensive tackle, wide receiver, and guard.
Yeah, which now that all right, so left tackle's interesting, right? Because they They traded Tunsil, but they brought in Cam Robinson.
And Trent Brown.
Yeah, which I think Trent Brown would play right tackle. Um, but Cam Robinson's only on a 1 year deal. Um, man, Laken Tomlinson's going to fill the guard spot. Dude,
And they also traded for Ed Ingram.
they had such a crazy, crazy offseason so far, man. Like they're just totally shuffling the deck here.
So I actually, because everybody's on a 1 year deal and they don't have anybody as a long-term solution.
Yeah.
I think even like looking at I think leaving it as it was is more applicable.
Well, if that's the case, then maybe we say offensive tackle instead of right tackle.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Because honestly, it's probably left tackle's the priority, but maybe they're happy with Cam Robinson and they extend him.
Yeah, but
Diggs is gone, so wide receiver's a thing.
I
And
mean,
then
they traded for Christian Kirk, signed Braxton Berrios and Justin Watson at wide receiver, so that's not really that much. I think
yeah, I mean, I guess Christian Kirk and Nico Collins is not bad for a 1-2 punch.
I think Christian Kirk of like 2 or 3 years ago and Nico Collins, but Christian Kirk as of late, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if as of late is because of how he was used in Jacksonville.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was good his first year in Jacksonville, and then it just kind of tinkered off. But so would
Yeah,
you
well,
would you
he
put
also
wide
only played.
receiver above defensive tackle or cornerback? Because those are the other Reuter needs. And so defense, I mean, they're stacked at defensive end, right? Um, they did bring in Sheldon Rankins. That's not
Brought in Sheldon
horrible.
Rankins, re-signed Mario Edwards.
They
I
didn't
don't
do
think
shit at cornerback though. Oh no, I know they did.
no,
Wow,
they
this
did.
list is long. This
Yeah,
list is long.
they
Oh yeah, they brought in Gardner
Dixon
Johnson too at
Stingley.
safety, but
Yeah,
yeah, Darby and Stingley.
Darby,
Stingley extended. Yep.
and they re-signed. I think I would put wide receiver. I looking at their defense and what they added also on their defense
Yeah.
or re-signed. I think I would put wide receiver above any defensive player.
So we just going offensive tackle, wide receiver, offensive guard.
Yeah.
This is an offensive issue for them. Their defense has pieces. I mean, their offense has pieces too, but it definitely let them down at times. All right,
True.
let's do that. Offensive tackle, wide receiver, offensive guard. I'm good with that.
All right, then we go to the Colts, who we had quarterback, interior offensive line, and linebacker.
And who did they bring in to compete with Richardson?
Daniel Jones.
Thank you. I was just working my way there. Okay, we are re-rolling, and we left off on the Indianapolis Colts, who brought in Daniel Jones at quarterback, so we can probably say,
They still need a quarterback.
yeah, but for this year, let's be real. They're going to fight it out between Daniel Jones and Anthony
Yeah, and
Richardson.
who knows? Maybe the competition, it's kind of like an ultimatum.
They're not drafting a guy,
Yeah, they're not drafting a guy,
so
but
we can
and
take him off for draft purposes.
maybe Richardson gets his shit together.
Yeah. And or maybe Daniel Jones is just a better fit in Steichen's offense, man.
True.
Because
So
Daniel Jones has shown some potential. He's just also shown horrible decision making. And, but the thing is, Anthony Richardson has shown zero development. And so, Man, I think that this is a good competition, to be honest, but it's also one of these ones where the odds of them drafting a quarterback, at least in like the top 3 or 4 rounds, is basically zero, right? They're going to let
Yeah.
these guys fight it out for a year and see what happens.
So they didn't address the interior offensive line and did not address linebackers. So those probably would be 1, 2.
Yeah, let's do that. IOL, linebacker.
Oh, what else did they have? They
They
so they
did
had
bring in
IOL.
Travarius Ward, man, which that one I was kind of surprised about that in terms of that landing spot, but good for them that they were able to bring him in.
And they brought
Um,
in Bynum in the secondary or
yeah,
safety.
yeah, no, you're right. They did lock up the defensive backfield. So you take those two out from Reuters' list, basically tight ends the next one, and I think no matter what way you go at quarterback, it helps to have a tight end because you know, and honestly, you could say receiver is a need, right? They got Pittman Jr., but
And Pierce has shown promise. But yeah, so I
yeah,
would okay, looking at it, I would put tight ends number 3. So right now their top 3 receivers are Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, and Josh Downs. It's decent. It's not,
yeah. I
but
mean, if you have the right quarterback, you could definitely make that work, right? But yeah, I,
they're
I like
they're
the
tight
idea of
ends
get them a
tight
tight end, and then it,
because they have
yeah,
nobody.
yeah. No, I'm good with that. So interior offensive line, linebacker, tight end. No, that's a good combo. I'm good with that shit. All right, so up next we got the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So we had tackle, offensive guard, and wide receiver as their needs.
Yeah,
So,
I'm trying to find them here on this list. Okay, I
so they
got
brought
them.
in Chuma Adoga, Robert Hainsey at offensive tackle, Fred Johnson, and Patrick McCarry.
I did like the Jordan Lewis signing at cornerback, but
hmm
really, like, oh man, I'm just,
I think
they need so much offensive line help, and I'm not thrilled with what they did. I don't think any of these
I'm not thrilled with
guys,
it either.
yeah, I don't think any of these guys really solved their problem, man. They're just, maybe Hainsey is going to be a starter just because of what they're paying him, but these other guys, they're depth, man.
Yeah, exactly. And then so why let's just hit wide receiver real quick because that was
I mean,
unique.
Brian Thomas Jr. Holy cow! If my brain would work, um, phenomenal as a rookie. Phenomenal,
Yeah.
like
And they
way better than I saw the high ceiling on the tape and in the scouting reports and everything, but for how shitty Jacksonville was last year, he was like the lone shining star.
Yeah. Um, at wide receiver, outside of Brian Thomas Jr., they have Gabe Davis, who did
Yeah, and he
nothing
did
for them last
nothing
year,
for him.
and Deami Brown.
Yeah, and, all right, De'Ami Brown. Hey, that's great. You brought him in. You brought him in because he was coming off of a really good year with what Washington. So
Mhm.
what are the odds that he's going to repeat that? If he was going to repeat
But
that,
he didn't
Washington probably would have found a way to bring him back.
define really good year.
Yeah, good year by his relative career standards. I don't think it was
Yeah.
enough to justify a 1 year, $10 million deal. But yeah, all right. So
So I don't think they did enough to address what we saw as the team needs in free agency to take any of them off of team needs for
yeah,
the
and
draft.
honestly, even Jordan Lewis, he's like a premier fucking slot cornerback, man.
hmm
So it's and I'm just looking at Reuters list, and so it's kind of like maybe we switch it to just say offensive line, wide receiver, and then let's add on cornerback or even defensive. Well, let's just add on cornerback because they did bring in Eric Murray at safety. So let's just offensive line, wide receiver, cornerback. I think those are their three spots for the draft.
Can't argue there.
All right, we got it.
All right, then with the Chiefs, we said they needed offensive tackle, defensive tackle, and offensive guard. I mean, offensive line is a big need for them. I want to see because
Yeah, it's a huge need now, right?
and it's even so they extended Trey Smith, but they extended him before we did.
And they traded Tooney.
Yeah, and they traded Tooney. So
And they were already weak at tackle.
Yeah, they brought in Jalen Moore, which I don't think really moves the needle on that.
I mean, man, he did have a good year for the 49ers, but basically, you're right. So they're banking on Jalen Moore being their left tackle, and they're sticking with fucking Jawan Taylor at right tackle. Man, I don't know. I, because of the money, that's probably what they're gonna go with, man. But it just
Or,
to me is like, and
in the draft.
I guess maybe it makes sense because now you're looking at the draft and you're saying, are we going to be able to get like a day one starter at left tackle? Probably not. And so I think maybe the sequence of events for them was right, but it still means that long term they need to keep upgrading the offensive line. It's just not going to happen now until next year unless they make a fucking trade.
Yeah, I don't think they moved the needle on any of their needs.
No, and they're definitely still needing help on defensive line, defensive tackle specifically. And then what else did Reuter have?
They
Reuter
had
was similar
tackle,
with us, but
guard,
he had wide
tackle,
receiver and edge.
receiver, and edge. I don't know. I don't know necessarily edge, but wide receiver.
I mean, we could consolidate it like we've done with some of these other teams and say offensive line.
That's where I was just going to go with it. Offensive line, defensive tackle, wide receiver.
Yeah, because I do think they do have a need at wide receiver. But I also think that Mahomes is a good enough quarterback that if you give him the protection and the time, he can make it work with a very fucking
Mm-hmm.
subpar wide receiver group.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a good priority list.
And then we go to the Raiders, who we had quarterback, wide receiver, running back. And they they traded for Geno Smith, so I don't think quarterback is a need. I actually really love the Geno
I
Smith
love
trade.
that trade.
I
Yeah.
think Geno Smith could do a lot of things in that offense and be a solution for a little bit for them. They signed Raheem Mostert
Yeah,
at running
he's
back.
hurt
He's
and
really
he's
hurt and
super
long in
long
the
in the
tooth.
tooth too. But I do like Raheem Mostert if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. So and then wide receiver. They
Yeah, they
didn't
definitely
do.
need help at wide receiver, right? They're
Yeah, they
going into
didn't.
the year with oh fuck, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The old Patriots guy.
Oh, know who you're talking about. Oh,
Yeah, and I mean they got Brock Bowers at tight end, so I mean that's not horrible, but they need some wide receiver help.
we're talking about. It would help if I pulled the depth chart of the right team. So let me see. They have Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely need wide receiver help. I think they definitely still need a running back, but I think I would put
you got to have somebody to pair with Mostert. And I
I
know they
would put
got
running back
what's
at
his face, the
3 though.
younger guy, but Pete Carroll has a very specific type of running back that he wants. and that is not on the depth chart right now. He
Yeah.
wants the Omarion Humphrey or whatever his name is out of North Carolina. He wants a bruising workhorse back, and if he can get him, cool. If not, he wants a version of that. So yeah, I would definitely say. I mean,
So
where's the priority? I would probably put the priority at running back, to be honest, knowing that Pete Carroll's the head coach. But I
so
would say wide receivers are close too.
here's the thing about it. I do not know if six is it six? Yeah, they pick six. I think
Oh,
they would
six
go with
gets him that dude out of North Carolina. Six would get him the dude out of Boise State, but I don't know that he's the guy Pete Carroll wants.
yeah, like I don't know if I hate a running back at six.
It's too high.
It's too high. So
Well,
what else did
but
Reuters
what I'm
say? So
saying is, I'm saying need wise, what's the biggest need? For them, would you put running back higher than wide receiver? I would. But if you want to go the other way, we go the other way, man.
I'm fine with putting running back ahead of wide receiver.
And then defensive tackle or cornerback?
So that's where I was looking. Um, defensive tackle. Let me see.
Well, no, because defensive tackle, fuck, man, they paid the dude out of Miami last year, man. Like, you
Yeah.
don't double dip and pay big money for that.
So they
Um,
have their
it's got to
defensive
be
tackles.
cornerback, man.
Yeah, it's got to be corner.
All right, running back, wide receiver, cornerback. Yeah, well, yeah, and Pete Carroll, his Legion of Boom days, he wants secondary help, so I'm good with that.
Yeah. All right. And that brings us to the Chargers, who we had as needing edge, center, and defensive tackle.
They mitigate some of the edge by bringing back Khalil Mack, but they definitely still need help because Bosa walked.
hmm Well, they let Bosa go.
Yeah, yeah. However we want to say it, you know what I mean.
Defensive tackle, edge. Let's see. They brought in Deshaun Hand. I re-signed Khalil Mack.
Yeah, I do like Deshaun Hand. He's a good blue collar guy. The Najee Harris thing, man, I'm lukewarm on that. What is your?
So I like it for what I see Harbaugh liking to do with the running backs.
I know, but Gus Bradley's gone. Um, I think it means they're not going to bring back what's his face that they had from Baltimore. Um, so I like Najee in terms of his running style. I think fits what Harbaugh wants. But I gotta believe because it's a 1 year, $5 million deal, they're drafting a running back. It's just how high. And so let's just keep that in the back of our minds, and let's just
So center, they re-signed Bradley
Bozeman
Bozeman.
re-signed, yeah, and Andre
Guard,
James signed. So I think they're definitely good at center.
they
Yeah, they
signed
brought in
Mekhi
Becton.
Becton. So I think they're good at.
Yeah, their offensive line's looking pretty solid right now. So we're looking at defensive line plus some. And so Reuter had edge, defensive tackle, safety, and tight end. I think they mitigated tight end with Conklin. He's a really good receiving tight end, plus very balanced. He can block, he can do a lot. And they signed him for 3 million, dude. They got really a good deal on him. But I
Mhm.
could see them drafting a tight end for the future. Um, but I definitely agree that defensive line is still a priority.
Yeah, and the question is do we want to split it? Because I do
I
like
think I
hand.
think we I think we consolidate it because honestly, I think you could
Yeah.
go defensive line. You could also add on tight end, and you could
And
also add on running back and say those are like their three biggest areas of need.
Yeah, because on the defensive line, it looks like they signed everybody to like a 1 year deal. Guard, Becton, we signed multi-year. Conklin's just a 1 year deal. Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, so we're saying defensive line.
Tight end, running back.
I'm going to say running back and then tight end.
Okay. See, the thing is I said this
We're splitting hairs, but yeah.
when Pittsburgh drafted, and it's just the 1 year deal thing. When Pittsburgh drafted Najee Harris, we talked about you need the offensive line
Yeah,
first.
they
I
fucking
think
screwed the pooch with that shit, man.
I think how the Chargers have addressed the offensive line. I think the Chargers have a good enough offensive line where Najee can
Flourish, but he's
can
on a 1 year
flourish,
deal.
but he's on a 1 year deal. Exactly. That's where I
Yeah.
was going with it. So it's either you're going to have to draft your running back of the future, or you're going to have to lock Najee Harris up for a couple years, because
Yeah,
Najee Harris, if he
man, I
can
don't see
thrive in it,
Harbaugh. I don't see Harbaugh signing a big fucking mega running back contract, but you never know.
you never know. And I agree with you.
I think Harbaugh trades for Blake Corum, and he lets Najee carry the load until he gets comfortable with Blake Corum. And if the Rams don't want to trade Blake Corum, then he drafts a guy. And fuck, he might even draft his fucking homie out of U of M at tight end, man. Because U of M's got a first round grade on a tight end, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stretch, but you never know. I think they should address the defensive line before anything else, because their offense has potential with Herbert no matter what. And the offensive line is great. So, all right, so we're on to the Dolphins.
So I don't know if I zoned out and missed the third need, but I only have two needs that we had on the list.
Yeah, I saw that, man. We only plugged in two. I think it's because we were basically saying they have no money and they need to protect Tua, and then they need to get better on the defensive line. So I think we just basically skimped out based on their lack of cap space.
Yeah. So they had some signings. They signed tackle Jack, or re-signed Carmen, signed Larry Broom. I don't know how long that deal is, and signed guard James Daniels, and guard Eichenberg re-signed. My question is that I don't think that addresses the need at guard.
I do like James Daniels. He's definitely starting caliber. It's just
well, paying him $8 million a year, you're anticipating he's going to be your starting guard.
yeah, I'm just thinking of their offensive line. So, Teron Armstead at left tackle, he's been starting to miss some time with injuries, getting a little long in the tooth. Eichenberg, I like him, but he's been very inconsistent, and his development's been, man, I don't know. He has not developed the way that I thought he would, but I like that they re-signed him. I think that's a positive sign. I still think that because Tua is such an injury risk with the concussions, you got to have like a top 3 or a top 5 offensive line.
Yeah.
And especially, and not even just because of that, but because Mike McDaniel wants to run the ball as well. And so, like, maybe let's just put a pin in offensive line, whether it's guard or tackle or whatever.
Yeah, because looking at it, like you said, they have Armstead, they have Eichenberg at left tackle, Aaron Brewer, I think center. I think Aaron Brewer's a solid center. James Daniels at right guard and Austin Jackson at right tackle. So yeah, I'm good with offensive line.
Yeah, let's just put that in there. That whatever way you stack that, just stack it. And then that means we're looking at, I mean,
So
Reuter
let's
had
see.
safety, defensive tackle, linebacker, and quarterback. I think you can just put quarterback off for now because they're going to be
Yeah.
fine with Tua and Zach Wilson. Like that's their decision. Is that if Tua gets hurt, Zach Wilson, they're going to roll the dice with him. So
So they
they're
so
not going to draft a quarterback.
at defensive tackle they re-signed Benito Jones, but that's all they did at defensive tackle.
That's not enough.
That's not enough. So we can keep defensive tackle in there.
Yeah, I'd make that 2, and then
And what were the other ones Reuter had? Safety
safety and
and
linebacker.
linebacker. So at linebacker,
They
they
made a few
re-signed
moves.
Dotson. They signed KJ Britt to a 1-year deal. They signed Willie Gay Jr.
Yeah, they lost Javon Holland at safety. That was big.
I think
But where do you
safety.
prioritize it? Where are you going to get more bang for your buck on the defense?
I
They're
want to say I want to put linebacker there. I
I'm just
think
thinking of that. I'm thinking of their division. Buffalo's a passing team. New England, they're a developing team, and then you got the Jets, which are not going to be a passing team. So I agree with you, man. I think linebacker's the higher priority for them.
yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it in my head. I think just the linebacker is a big priority for them.
Yeah, that's a good way to break it down because, that's 6-year games every year is within your division. So,
Mhm.
all right, that takes us to the Patriots, man.
So we had every position on the offensive line. We had
Yeah, yeah. Fucking
offensive tackle,
protect your
offensive guard,
franchise
and center.
quarterback, motherfuckers.
Okay, so they signed Morgan Moses at tackle. I like the Bradbury signing. I don't know.
Yeah, he's serviceable, and I mean, maybe they want to upgrade it in the draft, but there's not pressure.
So
Um,
looking at, and they signed guard Wes Schweitzer to a 1-year deal.
yeah, no, they still need help there.
I'm gonna say offensive tackle and offensive guard are still a priority.
They're
What do we
still
do?
priority, yeah.
I think center they have somebody serviceable.
Yeah,
Um,
let's look somewhere else on the roster because they can
so
spread it out a little bit now.
yeah, so Reuter had wide receiver, edge, and cornerback
Yeah,
as
and they
the
did
other
just
needs.
sign Diggs.
They signed
Fuck,
Diggs.
man, but
I hate
that's not a long-term thing for them.
I hate the Diggs signing. Why are you gonna give
Yeah.
him
Why are you
like
going to give a guy coming off an ACL big money?
well that and Buffalo had him with Josh Allen and couldn't wait to get rid of him. Houston had him,
Yep.
couldn't wait to get rid
Yeah.
of him. That
No,
should
he's
tell you
he's a
something. He
problem.
wanted,
He's going on his what, fourth team now. At this
yeah.
age of his career, he something's wrong, dude. I agree with you. Um,
So let's hold off on wide receiver. Let's see what else they did. No, actually, you know what? Let's not hold off on wide receiver.
I
You need
I like this. Let's change it to offensive line, wide receiver,
yep.
and then maybe edge because I know they brought in Harold Landry, which is a Vrabel guy, but man, I still think, well, maybe not edge. I don't know what and they got Davis at cornerback, but maybe cornerback to have another guy to go with him. I don't know. I'm thinking offensive line, wide receiver, and then something defense, whether it's
Yeah.
edge or defensive back. You tell me, man. Let's go cornerback. Let's go
Yeah.
cornerback. Because
Well,
you know what?
actually, wait. I would not go cornerback because their other cornerback is Christian Gonzalez, who showed a lot of promise.
Oh shit, yeah, no, I forgot about him. No, that's a good 1-2 punch, right? And
Yeah, that's a really good 1-2 punch.
yeah, and
I would go
Davis is on a
edge.
3-year deal. Yeah, so
I would go edge.
let's go edge. Yeah. Yeah, because they got the defense. Oh man, actually, hang on a second, because now that maybe makes me think we need to be looking at a linebacker. Let me pull up their
Okay.
linebackers. I gotta check the
So
roster.
they run a 3-4. So edge could be a linebacker.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like a
'Cause they,
call the defense kind of linebacker.
but I thought that was going to be Spillane.
Yeah, that's right. They got Bentley, Tavai, and Spillane. And Tavai's, you know what you're getting in him. But yeah, let's go edge. Let's go edge.
Tavai.
Yeah, they still got Jelani Tavai, man, the old Lions guy.
No, they don't.
Well, they let him go. He's showing up on lineups.
Okay, so I'm looking at at their linebackers, and I'm just going to list all. Oh, there he is. He's like freaking listed as third string.
I know, but he was a starter last year.
Okay. Yeah, I think edge is.
It would be smart for them to go the edge.
Yeah, like linebacker, like your linebacker. If you get a outside linebacker, he could be the edge guy too. So
But did Vrabel run a 3-4 in Tennessee? More reason to put edge. More reason to put edge. Because I don't think he ran a 3-4 in Tennessee. I think he ran a 4-3, man. And that actually puts Tavai probably in a better spot because then Tavai becomes like a backup middle linebacker. And Tavai is like, or maybe like a strong side linebacker. And then he's probably like better suited there anyhow. But um, either way, here nor there, we're off to the Jets.
I was just looking for what.
Yeah, I was just thinking Harold Landry. I thought he was more defensive end than rush linebacker. Mike Vrabel expected to implement a defense that leans towards one gap criteria, resembling a 3-4, but with a 4-3 under approach. Okay, so they're going to be a little sneaky about it and do a little bit of both.
Yeah. All right. So then Jets, we had quarterback, cornerback, defensive tackle.
Yes, we had that, didn't we?
Um,
They're from what I'm hearing, Aaron Glenn is smitten with Justin Fields.
So I really like the Justin Fields signing at quarterback, and
Yeah, and I hope it works because I like Aaron Glenn.
yeah, but also with the signing of Justin Fields, that takes the pressure off where you don't have to draft a first round quarterback.
Yeah. Agreed. And honestly, you know my opinion on this, James. When you're a rookie head coach, time after time, we watch these guys fall into the trap of, oh, I'm a defensive minded head coach. I'm going to draft offense in the first round in my first year because I can make anything work on defense. I'm hoping that because of what they just did with Justin Fields, that Aaron Glenn goes defense in the first round and builds his defense in his image.
Yeah.
Build
So
on your strength and let the offense be a complement.
yeah, so I think they addressed because they needed they signed Brandon Stevens at corner.
And they gave him some money, man.
Yeah, $12 million a year, 3 year, $36 million deal. So Sauce Gardner, Brandon Stevens. I think that's a respectable
Sure.
cornerback combination. Defensive tackle.
I think they could use some help there.
Yeah, I think defensive tackle. Let's just get out their needs, and then we'll organize it. Let's
DT,
see. Yeah, DT's one of them.
OT.
OT. See, what did they do at safety and safety?
I mean, Cisco's not bad. They're giving him 10 million, so they
Yeah,
got
but
some
it's a
faith in
1 year.
that. But
It's a 1 year deal, though.
all right, DT, OT, safety.
Now, which order?
I just put it
I,
in that order, man.
yeah,
I think the idea is, you're going to rely on Cisco for this year, but you need for the future, whether Fields makes it or not, you need to have a good offensive line. And so I would make that a higher priority, but you can say, he's a mobile quarterback, so it's not the end of the world, but you also want to run the ball with Brees Hall. So I put offensive line over safety, but I would put defensive tackle above both because
mm-hmm.
Aaron Glenn needs that solid defensive line, my opinion, as a defensive minded head coach, build from your defense first.
All right, so that brings us to the Steelers. We
Yes,
had
it does.
quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver. First
Okay.
of all, it tells you something if Pittsburgh is willing to risk starting freaking Mason Rudolph at quarterback.
State of affairs.
Instead of re-signing Russ or re-signing, like they're putting all their eggs.
Or going gung-ho for Aaron Rodgers. By the way,
Yeah.
fuck Aaron Rodgers. He was also linked to the Minnesota Vikings, who just turned down those rumors.
Yeah,
and the Giants signed
Minnesota
Russ because they got sick of waiting.
Kind of turned down those rumors. Minnesota kind of turned down those rumors.
Yeah, they're basically saying if he wants to come here, he's got to be open to being a backup.
No, they said that they were out on Aaron Rodgers unless something happens.
Yeah, I heard that the deeper conversation was they were open with him and saying that if he wanted to be there, he had to be open to whether it was early or later in the year that he could potentially be the backup to J.J. McCarthy. And so that likely he was not going to be going there.
Yeah, like the quote was, right now we're really happy with our quarterback room, and we're going to look to upgrade it in different ways. Right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got I forget what's his name as their backup quarterback. He's kind of like a journeyman guy. They're banking on J.J. McCarthy stepping up, and they've mitigated it with a journeyman backup. But come on.
No, they don't have a backup quarterback on the roster.
No, they do. I just read the article, man. Hang on. Brett Ripien.
So, but that's the thing. They haven't signed him.
I don't know, dude. They just made a comment about him that he's their backup. Either way, let's get back to the Steelers.
Well, I guess they do, but like he's not listed anywhere on their fucking depth chart. Anyways, the Steelers. So they still need a quarterback. They still need an offensive tackle. I think they addressed the wide receiver needs. I think actually kind of like how their wide receiver room is stacking up right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised Metcalf is there without an answer at quarterback, man.
Yeah, but I do like how it's stacking up.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think Metcalf and Pickens. That's a really good 1-2 punch, especially when you got Freiermuth at tight end, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's very attractive for a quarterback. Rodgers, to me, this is the only place Rodgers can land now.
Yeah, it is.
And
Unless
and
he
you know,
waits
and
out.
but if I'm the Steelers, I don't even want him. The problem is there's now nobody better for the Steelers unless they want to draft a rookie and roll the dice that way, which are
Well,
they
that's
really
what.
going to do that after the fucking Kenny Pickett experiment a couple years ago?
But that's why I like. I think it was Cam Hayward's quote about it. He said, "You want a sales pitch for coming to the Pittsburghs? We're the Steelers. You want to play here or not? You don't want to play here? That's
Yeah.
fine. You want to play here? Come."
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think that that's also a sign of fuck you, Rodgers. Why don't you just fucking bow out because you should have just fucking signed by now.
Yeah. So Reuter had cornerback and running back as the other needs. So at
Man,
cornerback,
let's just pause for a second, okay? Because quarterback is obviously the biggest need for the Steelers.
mm-hmm.
And let's just put it on here. Quarterback is still the biggest need until they figure this out. What can they do at quarterback, man? Who could they fucking trade for that would be out of left field that nobody's expecting that could maybe get them into the playoffs next year? Because
So
I think Mason Rudolph in spot duty can be okay. I think over the duration of a season, he cannot be okay.
so what I'm hearing, and I think it's Milrow
Out of Alabama. So
out of Alabama.
they would roll with Rudolph and a rookie.
As I hear, I think it's
Man, I gotta believe that Tomlin is wanting something else, man. Tomlin's got to be fucking just tossing and turning every night that he cannot lock up this quarterback situation, man.
yeah, but like I don't
Yeah, but
know.
what does he do? I know, I got you, man.
I don't know who.
Yeah, who's left? Is Jacoby Brissett still out there? And even then, I mean, fuck, man. I'd probably rather have Mason Rudolph than Brissett.
Hmm.
I kind of feel like they fucked up by not going after Jameis Winston, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think Jameis would have like towed the line for everything Tomlin wants. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if Tomlin was like, "Hey, stop doing this, stop doing that," I think Jameis would have fucking listened. But Jameis is with the Giants now. I don't know, dude. I think honestly, I think Tomlin's betting his job if he's going to roll Rudolph and a rookie. My opinion. My opinion.
Yeah. No,
I just can't see them running with and then maybe they bring in Rodgers and it's a disaster. That could be like a gap year where it's like, oh well, hey, we tried it, and now we're gonna let you go back to the well and draft a rookie quarterback. But dude, if he goes rookie quarterback this year with Rudolph and they don't make the playoffs, I think he's done. But it's Tomlin. They could probably do it and make the playoffs. So I don't know.
yeah. I hear you.
I don't mean to get hung up on the end here. I know we only got like one or two teams left or whatever. To
Well,
me,
no,
this
no.
is
It's
like maybe the biggest question mark left in the NFL.
no. I agree with you. And like while you're talking, like outside of quarterback, really, quarterback and offensive tackle, I was trying while you were going on that, and I was listening to you. I was trying to come up with the third need,
Yeah,
and so I was like, well, they signed cornerback Darius Slade, but they only signed him to a 1 year deal.
yeah,
But then if they draft a corner and don't re-sign Slay, then you're running with that next year you're running with a second-year guy and a third-year guy at corner.
Which is maybe fine, if they can keep the defensive line stacked. All right, and so then running back, you're going Jalen Ward and Kenneth Gainwell.
And Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, I don't consider him a
I'm just
starting tier.
But here's the thing.
So quarterback number 1,
offensive tackle, and I'm struggling
and
with
we're
that.
stuck on 3.
I'm stuck on 3. I think
we can take wide receiver off because of the Metcalf trade, and bringing in Scotty Miller. They're good there.
I think corner is more important than running back.
I don't know, dude. I would argue that a Tomlin offense needs a workhorse.
Right, but I think it depends.
Especially in the absence of a quarterback.
I think it depends on who you get at quarterback on which one's more important.
I would say for this year, because you have Slay, you need a running back.
All right. You can
and you can get a running back that can be a day one workhorse. Dude, they're saying that this could be the best running back draft in 10 plus years, man.
No, I know, and I
think Tomlin's got to do it because he doesn't have fucking, even if they bring in Rodgers, and goddamn, I hope they don't bring in Rodgers because he's such a fucking bitch. And honestly, man, maybe they should look at a guy like Jacoby Brissett, somebody that can just fucking hand the ball off. Get a running back and hand the fucking ball off and let Tomlin's team win with defense. Because that's what Tomlin's teams do. Since Ben Roethlisberger's been gone, they've only been able to win with defense. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they need to embrace it.
No, I hear you. And that's why
we're pegging them all offense for the draft.
Yeah.
Because all they got's defense.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, man. I don't know why I got so crazy about the Steelers. I love the fucking Steelers. It just bothers me they're in this fucking position, man. It's like, blows my mind that Pittsburgh's in this fucking spot, dude. All right. Yeah. So last up for tonight, we got the Tennessee Titans.
And so your team needs for the Tennessee Titans was offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge. My team needs for the Tennessee Titans was quarterback, offensive tackle, edge.
Oh, you want to segregate from me, huh?
I'm just fucking with you.
I think we I guess we were debating about what are they going to do with Levis.
So
it seems like right now everybody's leaning towards Cam Ward's going to Tennessee.
Yeah, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Cam Ward's going to Tennessee.
Yeah, they're going to abort Levis. So let's go quarterback number 1.
But I have concerns with him.
Well, we should have concerns with that. Yeah, I'm not sold on Cam Ward at all, man.
No, that's what I was saying. Like, I'm not sold on Cam Ward, but it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that they're
I think this is a shitty ass quarterback class, in my opinion. Shadur Sanders, say what you want to say. Man, I don't think that we have, in my opinion, I don't think we have any first round quarterbacks in this draft.
Yeah, and the more and more I'm reading on it, the more and more I'm reading that there's going to be 3.
Yeah, and these guys are all gambles, in my opinion. Shador, yeah, he's got the name brand, but does he have the arm? Sorry, when you're throwing a fucking 10, 15-yard out route, I don't want his arm throwing that out route, man. He doesn't have that kind of fucking zip velocity on those passes, man. Um, Cam Ward reminds me a lot of Anthony Richardson, but maybe not even as athletic, and people are comparing him to Jaden Daniels. Dude, I don't see him anywhere near what Jaden Daniels did as a passer at LSU.
Yeah, so with Shooter Sanders, I think he has talent and he has potential,
He
but
he gets he gets a Geno Smith comp from Geno Smith coming out of college. And
yeah,
Geno Smith coming out of college, a lot of people were like, should not have been a first rounder, should have been a second or third rounder that developed.
yeah. And the biggest issue with Shooter Sanders is he holds onto the ball too long trying to make something happen, which is the
In the
biggest
NFL,
issue
you're
with,
going to get roasted, man.
yeah, a terrible issue to have. And you're right, short intermediate passes, he can pick defenses apart. Geno Smith, 100%. But we'll talk about the draft on another day.
All right,
So,
yeah. So we're going to say Tennessee quarterback number 1.
yeah, so then wide receiver, they signed Van Jefferson. I don't think that moves the needle.
No,
Offense,
what is Calvin Ridley still there, or what happened with him, man?
uh, so they still have Calvin Ridley. They have Treylon Burks, who I think showed a
Yeah, he
little bit
just has
last
never
year.
really gotten there, man.
He showed a little bit last year, but hasn't gotten there. But if you're going to have a rookie quarterback, you're going to want a solid offensive tackle.
And maybe a tight end.
Yeah. That's
Who did they have at tight end?
Chig Okonkwo.
Oh yeah, no, he was actually pretty goddamn good for them.
Yeah.
All right, let's go quarterback, offensive tackle, maybe wide receiver long term, and we're going all offense. Or do we? I mean, their defense was really good last year. What did Reuter have for them? Quarterback, wide receiver, edge, offensive tackle, safety.
Safety. So,
They did lose Harold Landry, right? So maybe edge.
but they signed Xavier Woods at safety.
Oh, and they
Let me
did
see.
bring in Dan Moore at tackle, so that's not bad. But
Yeah.
and Zeitler at guard, which I like. Um, yeah, I'm thinking edge is their next guy, man.
Yeah, I'm good with edge.
All right, quarterback, offensive tackle, edge. That's where we're at on Tennessee.
Yeah. I'm
Like it or
good.
not, suck it. That's what we're saying, boys or girls, whoever's watching. Probably, I don't know, boys. The 6 of us is 2 of me and 1 of you. That's 3. So I'm just guessing maybe the other 3 are guys.
Let's go back to Tennessee for a second.
Oh, I gotta pull it up again. Okay.
I want to put wide receiver over edge.
Okay, if you're gonna do that, maybe we take off offensive tackle. They signed Dan Moore to
Yeah.
big money, and they've
Yep.
drafted offensive linemen in the last 2 years.
That works for me.
So we're gonna go quarterback, edge, wide receiver, or quarterback, wide receiver, edge.
I'm good with quarterback, edge, wide receiver. I looking at it, and the more I looked at it, I feel like wide receivers a bigger need somewhere.
Sure.
And I like that. I like that taking off offensive tackle, because looking at their tackles, they signed Dan Moore and they have J.C. Latham at right tackle.
Yeah, and they got Skoronski, and they've got other guys on
Yeah,
the offensive line, so they're
yeah.
they're
So
gonna
their
they're gonna
offense, and
roll
they got
that dice.
Cushionberry at center.
They were pretty good on the offensive line last year.
Yeah, yeah. I think they were pretty good on the offensive line, and I think they upgraded it a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
So I'm good with that. Although, yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, where we go from here, my man?
Where do we go now? Where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go?
I
Where
mean,
do we go
that's it.
now?
Team
Where
wise,
do
I
we go?
guess do you have anything that you want to chit chat about?
Um,
Where does Gridiron Grinder go from here now?
I want to chit chat about the New York Giants,
Let's do it.
and I'm gonna throw this out there with impromptu question of the week.
Yeah, I mean, hey, why not?
With signing
Russ?
Russ and Jameis,
Yeah. To me, honestly, Jameis is a higher ceiling quarterback.
yeah, are they trying to do some kind of like bionic combination of the two, where you have Russ's field smarts and Jameis's ability,
It,
or
it's
like,
it's weird, right? Because Russ already came out saying that he expects to be the starter. When you
yeah,
look at what they paid Jameis, he clearly expects to be the backup. But to me, when I watched them play in this past year, I still believe Jameis has the higher ceiling of the two. Maybe Russell Wilson makes smarter decisions, but
hmm
if you want to throw for fucking 300 yards, Jameis is your guy. And that's the problem is what are the Giants trying to accomplish, man? They've got a receiver that suggests let Jameis air it out. Okay, but they also have somehow a GM and a head coach that have not been fired, which suggests we need to be so goddamn safe and conservative that we can find a way to save our jobs, which leans towards Russ. I, I
yeah,
don't like what they're doing, dude. I think they're
okay. You hit all the points that I had on it. Like it makes no fucking
uh,
sense whatsoever. Like, what are
yeah,
they doing?
I didn't mean to steal your
Um,
thunder. I
no,
was just rambling, to be honest.
no, unless what they're doing is they're taking the pressure off of, because they don't have a first round grade on any of these quarterbacks,
Yeah.
and
Even if
hoping,
they did, could they afford to ride out a year with a first round quarterback?
right, but so they don't have a first round grade on one of these quarterbacks, so they're hoping to get one of these guys in the second round, or maybe trade back up into the late first round to get
Yeah.
one to
Get
get
that
one of
fifth
these,
year option and develop a guy.
and then develop him under Russ, with Russ's tutelage on how to play the game, because Russ in his prime was a very smart quarterback and he was very safe with the ball,
Oh yeah.
and to have Russ as the guy to teach one of these guys, like not obviously not Shore or Cam Ward, because they're going in the first round, like a Jackson Dart
Yeah,
or
Jackson Dart's been
Milrow.
rising a lot lately, right? So,
Yeah,
could they maybe throw the dart at Jackson Dart? I don't know, man. It's
because
to
Jackson
to
Dart,
me to me here's what I'm just gleaning from the Giants. Here's my opinion. And they're doing a little bit of it wrong. But to me, they're loading up a little bit on defense and they're saying, hey, Dable, you're a defensive guy. We need to fucking win on defense. and you need to get this fucking team's ass in the fucking playoffs, or we're all getting fired. And so they're stacking to his strength, but instead of, in fact, I'm trying to pull up their signings just to like validate some of this. Instead of offensively, man, to me it's they brought back Tommy DeVito, they signed Russell Wilson, they signed Jameis Winston. I believe they need to go all defense and let Jameis just fucking air it out all year. Because he can fucking move an offense. And if your defense is fucking top 10, top 12, and you have a guy that can throw for 4,000, 4,500 yards, you can maybe find a way to fucking squeak in the playoffs. And that saves your fucking job. I don't think Russ is going to do that for them, man. I think Russ is too fucking conservative for what that offense has to offer. If Russ went in there and they had a more stacked offensive line in a running game, in wide receivers other than what's his face, they got one great wide receiver. To me, it's like I just don't see how it works for Russ. He's not getting better at this stage of his career. But Jameis Winston is at least plateaued and going to be Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dude. I just rambled a lot.
No, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I think they're getting fired. They're getting fired.
And like unless that's it, is they're just going defense and gonna have.
Well, let's be real. Philly's definitely running some shit back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Washington is way on the rise. Okay, if the Giants are third in that division, which that's a stretch because they might not even be able to beat out Dallas. Come on, they're firing those guys, man.
Yeah.
I don't see a path. I don't see a path for them to be second in that division, unless Jaden Daniels gets hurt in like week 2.
But here's the thing: are they purposely bringing back the coach and the GM this year
just to fucking tank it and fire everybody, and then draft Arch Manning?
That's where I was going with it.
It'd be fucked up for the fan base, but it could be possible. It could be possible. It could be possible.
I mean, Arch Manning was 61 for 90, 61 completions out of 90, 939 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 4 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, their coach and their GM are not going to lay down because that's their livelihood. They gotta do whatever they can. And the thing is, the Giants actually have like a top third defense, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know that they could lay down for fucking Arch Manning, but it is a possibility, right, that there could be some weird shit going on behind the scenes.
I just don't. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever what they're doing, and I have no clue. And it's
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk more about NFC next week. It's just I wanted to get that off my chest. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Hey, good tangent, man. Nothing wrong with popping it out there.
All right, so that's all I had. I just, like I said, wanted to see if you had any thoughts, and your thoughts were almost identical to mine. So,
we are in alignment. See, I like it when I ask you the question and then we play like devil's advocate, but it's also good to be in alignment every now and then, so that's fine.
Yeah. No, it's just it's been burning in my mind ever since I heard that they were signing Russ.
All right, I'm going to pop us off. That's good for
All right.
tonight.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.